What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From The Bench Vols. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and welcome to our Friday edition of the show where we have a lot of Tennessee football to talk about once again. This is a pre-recorded episode, so if anything else has gone on in the world of Boo Carter and kind of all that craziness that has been brought onto the scene this week, I will not have anything on that on this episode or anything after this, just because I will be out of town. I come back Saturday, so wanted to pre-record an episode to make sure I got it out to you guys for our Friday show this morning. Today we are going to continue on with our position group spotlight series to the highly anticipated quarterbacks. I know it seems like we've just talked about quarterbacks so much this offseason, and we definitely have, but I'm not going to skip the most important position and the position that's had the most controversy this offseason, excuse me. So we're going to have that and really break it down and kind of talk about what does the national media think of this quarterback competition, and does a lot of the national media even consider it a quarterback competition? So many people just think that Joey Aguilar is that guy, myself included. So we're going to break all of that down and more on this episode of From The Bench Vols. But before we get into any of that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, share it to whoever you want to share it with. I would greatly appreciate it. I appreciate all the love that we've been getting here on this channel over the last few weeks. I know I've said that a bunch, but I just want to keep implementing that. It means the world to me, so I appreciate you guys tuning in to this show. So let's just get right into it. You guys know the drill. We've done cornerbacks, receivers, running backs, linebackers. So I think that this is our fifth. I don't think we've done D-line. We could have done D-line. I don't think we have. I think D-line's the next one. I know we haven't done offensive line. So we're getting towards the end of this series. We're not doing it on the kickers and punters. Sorry to the lovers of punters and kickers out there, but we are just doing, the big name positions. I don't even know if I'm going to do one on the safeties, just because they're kind of a part of that cornerback group, and there's just not near as many safeties to talk about, and there is some new faces back there, but Andre Turrentine's a starter, and then you're going to kind of have some rotation with Caleb Beasley and Idris Farouk, but I don't know if there's enough content there to make it a whole episode. We may make that a second half to an episode, but we'll see. So today, we're on the quarterbacks, man. You guys know what's gone on. The quarterback position itself is up in the air right now, and again, a lot of people don't necessarily consider it that. We've got Joey Aguilar, we've got Jake Merklinger, and then the freshman George McIntyre. We've seen all of these guys in action in some way, shape, or form. George McIntyre and Jake Merklinger in the orange and white game, which obviously you have to take with a grain of salt. And then Joey Aguilar, 2 years of experience in the Sun Belt Conference over at Appalachian State. So we'll start with Joey Aguilar. Again, a lot of these guys don't need too much introduction, just with how much this position has been spotlighted over the course of the offseason, but we're going to kind of go through the drill with how every single episode of this series has gone. So again, Joey Aguilar, a senior this year, 6'3", 225. In 2024, had 3,003 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. So that touchdown-interception ratio a little up in the air there. But then in 2023, an incredible year, 3,757 yards. That's getting after it, man. 33 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So over a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception relation, or 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, got tongue twisted there. So a very, very good year in 2023. Obviously struggled in 2024 a little bit, but the guy's a gunslinger, man. What you guys have heard me talk about it a bunch, and you've heard everybody who's talked about Tennessee football this summer talk about Joey Aguilar. The guy is a gunslinger. He's going to let it rip, and sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. I mean, you see that with 14 interceptions this past year, which I do think that's going to get dialed down, and we'll talk about that more on the back end of the episode. But there's Joey Aguilar. Obviously, again, I don't need to say this, but was at App State, transferred to UCLA. Obviously, Nico leaves, goes to UCLA, and the infamous first trade happens, and he comes from UCLA, where he spent the spring, to the Vols. So got here after spring practice, and now he's here. So then we have Jake Merklinger, obviously a redshirt freshman, 6'3", 215, a 4-star out of Georgia, a guy that as a year has the most experience in this quarterback room in terms of the offense, the playbook in this system. Joey Aguilar is a first-year guy at Tennessee. George McIntyre is a freshman. So Jake Merklinger has had a year under Josh Heupel and under this playbook, has built relationships and kind of a leadership role with this team. Obviously, with all the craziness that happened around that spring game and around the orange and white game, he was kind of the voice in that locker room, is what it seemed. That it was the guy that they were starting to rally around a little bit. We saw him in the orange and white game, whether you thought he played really well or not. I mean, he was the guy. He was the guy that a lot of the fan base rallied around in that short span of 24 hours. If you guys, obviously you remember Nico being removed from the team, but it was the morning of the orange and white game that he was removed. So this fan base quickly gathered around Jake Merklinger. So, again, it's just such an odd situation. And then George McIntyre, an in-state guy, is from a family of historic football in the state of Tennessee, played at Brentwood Academy in Brentwood, Tennessee. Freshman, 6'6", 195, was nearly a five-star on some websites when he committed to the Vols, and slowly started sliding down a lot of the rankings. I'm not saying that that's because he committed to Tennessee. I know that a lot of people like to have conspiracies about that, and I know Ohio State fans like to do the same thing. When you commit to Tennessee, they start low in your ranking. It may seem like that sometimes, but I can recall multiple times this year in this 2026 class, Gabriel Ascenda was a 3-star when he committed to Tennessee, and now he is a 5-star on 24/7. And then if you guys remember a couple years back, Nathan Laycock was like the 400th ranked player, 500th ranked player in the country when he committed to Tennessee and ended up as like the 60th. So, I mean, obviously people are going to focus on the bad. I think that's a dumb conspiracy. I think George McIntyre, respectfully, deservingly kind of started sliding down that. I hope he's an incredible football player for Tennessee, but I never really saw him as a 5-star caliber prospect. But again, I hope that I'm so wrong, and I hope he's a Heisman winner here at Tennessee. Again, never trying to take shots at Tennessee players here, just kind of calling it how I see it. I feel like that's kind of where I pride my show in. Yes, am I a Tennessee homer? For sure. Am I going to put a positive spin on Tennessee things 95% of the time? For sure. But I also like to call it how I see it, and I feel like that's something that you guys can kind of appreciate as well. So those are the three guys we have in this quarterback room, and like I said, it's very much a competition. Josh Heupel spoke on it at SEC Media Day. Obviously, a lot of questions about that. We talked about what he said on our 2 episodes ago last Friday, but I'll reiterate it. Heupel at Media Day in regards to this quarterback competition. We don't have a set timeline. Somebody has got to go take it, learn it, earn it, and take the job. We'll practice in a way where they get to compete, where they get to a chance to truly compete for it. Excuse me. I write these so small on this paper, and I hardly can read my handwriting, which is probably not a good thing. But so he's made it very known that this is going to be a quarterback competition. These guys are going to have to compete for it in fall practice. And again, it's just such an odd situation because you've got Joey Aguilar, who, yes, is he more experienced in terms of college football? 100%, has played more than 20 games than all these guys. But then Jake Merklinger has been here in the system for over a year. In reality, George McIntyre has been here longer than Joey Aguilar as well because he missed the whole spring. He was over across the country in California learning UCLA's playbook. So he's been here for quite a while, don't get me wrong, and he's seemed to build relationships with these guys and learn this playbook, which he 100% has. But he's definitely, I mean, there's no beating around the bush. He's been there a significant amount of time less than these other guys. Jake Merklinger, a guy who, again, this fan base has rallied around in a sense, but is it just for that orange and white game? Who do you guys, it's something that you guys need to let me know in the comments. And I feel like a lot of people, the majority of people, think Joey Aguilar is your guy, again, myself included. But I also have the occasional comment or DM on Twitter or Instagram that you guys think Jake Merklinger is that guy. I know quite a few people that believe that. It's going to be very interesting to see who takes that first snap against Syracuse in the Georgia Dome. And I've talked about it before on this show, but I really just hope that this is not one of those things that you don't know and you send both quarterbacks out there game one. And I don't think Josh Heupel will do that, given the fact that he has been a quarterback in his day, a very successful one at that at Oklahoma. And he knows firsthand that it is so hard to find your flow as a quarterback in that situation for 2 reasons. One, you're going out there it's human nature. You're going out there not to lose that job, not to screw up, not to go win the game, but you're going out there to not mess up. And right there, it's a lot harder for a guy to play up to his full capability when he's just trying not to mess up. And then the second thing is it's so hard to get into a rhythm as a quarterback and feel the game out when you think that you're coming out the next drive. So I really do think that that's not going to be a decision that Josh Heupel makes. It's a decision that's not horribly uncommon in the game of football. That happens. Ohio State did it, what was it, 2 years ago with Devin Brown and Kyle McCord. So it's definitely one that it's going to be up in the air. But I do think Joey Aguilar is going to be the starting quarterback for this team. And it seems as if the national media thinks that as well. I mean, just scroll through YouTube if you're a Tennessee fan. I know my YouTube personally, part of the fact is probably that I release Tennessee content, but it's also all I watch. So I'm seeing stuff just scrolling. It's just how Joey Aguilar is going to do this. Is Joey Aguilar better than Nico? Stuff like that, man. Like, it just seems like he is the guy to most of the people in the national media, and even big names, like not even YouTube channels, but we've seen On3 make videos on just Joey Aguilar. Kirk Herbstreit, I've got a quote here that is via the Try That in a Small Town podcast where he says, this is on Joey Aguilar, by the way, he's going into a great system. I mean, Josh Heupel puts the quarterback in a spot to be successful with the system that they run. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him do well. He later goes on to say, he's going in with, I don't want to say nothing to lose, but the expectations are always high at Tennessee. But they're going to be in his corner, and that fan base is going to be in his corner after Nico kind of left him the way that he did. So, I mean, Kirk Herbstreit is as high as you get in the world of college football media and things of that nature. Obviously, he might be the biggest. But a lot of the national media just doesn't even really consider this a quarterback competition, which is a little, it's not conflicting to me. It's just kind of confusing to me because usually, how I said I'll use Ohio State as another example, that was a very known quarterback battle between Devin Brown and Kyle McCord. Obviously, Kyle McCord ends up winning that job. Kyle McCord ends up going to Syracuse last year, and it succeeded tremendously at Syracuse. But a lot of times when it's a quarterback battle, it's very known. It's very much out there that it is a quarterback battle, especially for a program as big as Tennessee, and one that they've talked about this craziness at the quarterback position all over the national media all year for Tennessee. So to see them just kind of say, all right, Joey Aguilar is going to do this, Joey Aguilar is not going to do this, Aguilar is going to struggle with this is why he's going to be good, this is why he's going to be bad, all those things, it's just interesting because you talk all about Joey Aguilar and what he's going to do and what he's not going to do, but what if he's not even your guy taking your first snap? So I find that very interesting as well. It's such an odd situation. I don't feel like I've ever seen anything like this that I can remember. Let me know in the comments if there's one that you can remember, but usually it's very upfront and very known that it's a quarterback battle. Josh Heupel has done his job in making it known that it is a quarterback battle, but the national media, in a sense, it's very one-sided, and they think Joey Aguilar's your guy. Again, I do as well. I think Joey Aguilar is going to be the guy that takes that first snap, but it almost makes you wonder, like, I don't think Josh Heupel is going to send two guys out there, but is his leash going to be much shorter in a sense? If Joey Aguilar goes out there and just, you go 3 and out, maybe a field goal and then a pick, do you leave him in there? Do you let Jake Merklinger go try the second quarter after that? It's really all up in the air, in my opinion. I'm very excited to see how it plays out. I hope it plays out great, obviously, but it's a very intriguing situation, in my opinion. But you got to think Josh Heupel and this staff was kind of in this situation in 2021 with Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker. Joe Milton, a lot of guys you see, I mean, it's hard not to like Joe Milton on a highlight reel or in warm-ups because the dude flicks it like a basketball 80 yards. So you got to think that's your guy. If you guys remember correctly, I think we played Ball State that first year of Josh Heupel with Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker on the same team, and I could be wrong there. It may have been Bowling Green. It was Bowling Green because I remember it was like on a Thursday night or something like that. Joe Milton just wasn't killing it like a lot of people kind of thought. Obviously a transfer from Michigan. He just wasn't knocking it out of the park like a lot of people thought. Some people didn't like his accuracy issues and was starting to call for Hendon Hooker. Joe Milton goes down with an injury. Hendon Hooker steps in, and you never looked back. And Hendon Hooker is the best quarterback since 2000 for Tennessee's football program, and He's arguably a top 3 quarterback in the history of the program. So it's just a very, I don't want to keep sitting here and stuttering. It's just a very interesting situation that Tennessee's in, and there's a lot of what ifs on who's going to take that first snap. What's it going to look like? Is the playbook going to be less opened up for a Joey Aguilar than it is a Jake Merklinger? Because Joey Aguilar has learned this system for what? May, June, July, August? That's really, and it's not even all of May, I don't feel like. So that's 4 months, give or take. And then Jake Merklinger was an early enrollee his freshman year, so he's been here since Christmas of 2 years ago. Obviously was here for a full season, was here for spring practice, last year. So just so much more experience with this football team, with this locker room, and with the head coach and with the play caller than a Joey Aguilar. So I think that's a thing that a lot of people aren't giving credit where credit is due in terms of Jake Merklinger. Obviously, it's not like he's done anything crazy to earn respect from people, if that makes sense, but he just has been here so much longer than Joey Aguilar, and you don't really realize that because he didn't play last year. But in terms of being in the facility and all the things, he's just been here in a lot less time than Jake Merklinger. And then obviously George McIntyre, again, no disrespect at all. I don't feel like he's much in this quarterback battle. That's just me. I'm not in the practice. I'm not none of that. I haven't seen George McIntyre throw a football since the orange and white game. So I don't know, but I just kind of feel he just doesn't have an SEC build per se. Again, 6'6", 195. That's this big, guys. Not a very big guy. I think that he more than can put on the muscle. Nico put on a lot of muscle. I know that you guys, that might be a touchy subject, but the dude put on a lot of muscle from his freshman year to his sophomore year. So I definitely think he can put on that muscle. And Tennessee kind of likes these lankier, long quarterbacks and guys that not necessarily are a statue in the pocket, but a big guy in the pocket. So George McIntyre might perfectly fit what Tennessee wants in the future. I just don't think that this is his year as a true freshman compared to a guy who's been in the system for so long and then a guy who's played 2 years worth of college football. So I don't think he's much in that, but again, let me know what you guys think in the comments on who this quarterback situation as a whole, what you think it's going to look like week 1. I would not be surprised, though, if it's something like this. Like if you squeak by Syracuse and say Joey Aguilar is your quarterback against Syracuse, let's say he throws for 185 yards, which is not killing it, and a touchdown and a pick. Could you see Tennessee the next week against ETSU in the first home game maybe splitting for a game like that? Because obviously ETSU is not to the caliber of Syracuse week 1 and then Georgia week 3. Could you see multiple guys taking snaps that week 2 against ETSU? It is just all up in the air. It is a very, very intriguing situation, and I think it goes past the surface level, just the fact that it's a quarterback battle. There's a lot of things that factor into this, and then I think that it's going to be a very interesting, like I said, after the quarterback is named, what's going to happen there on after that. So again, let me know what you guys think in the comment, who you guys think is going to be the starter, and let me know if you guys think, I know Eric Kane, who's been on the show before, host of Locked On Ball, is doing a little series on his Instagram, so make sure you guys go follow his Instagram if you haven't already. But it's called like Buy or Sell, and his yesterday or 2 days ago or something like that was, are you buying or selling that Tennessee's going to start more than 2 quarterbacks this year? So let me know what you guys think about that. Do you think that Tennessee will start more than 2 quarterbacks this year? Again, just the talk of the offseason. So I don't want to sound like a broken record, just kind of deep diving into it and kind of seeing guys like Kirk Herbstreit and around the national media, On3, all the things, what they think about this quarterback situation, if there is one, if there is a competition to these guys. They again, a lot of them just seem to think that Joey Aguilar is your guy. So again, make sure you guys let me know in the comments what you think about all this. It's just absolutely nuts. So we'll see. And again, this is a pre-recorded episode, so I will not, if there's anything on Boo Carter, any update on that, I'm sorry, but I will not have anything to talk about that on the YouTube, but you guys can follow the Instagram right here down below. I'm sure we will have some stuff out on there, or the TikTok. You can do that as well, just From The Bench Vols on TikTok. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. I more than appreciate you guys joining me on this Friday morning, Friday afternoon, whenever you guys are watching this. I greatly appreciate you guys for choosing From The Bench Vols to start your day. I hope everybody has an incredible weekend. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Go Vols.